I've just taken my two out for a walk this morning, the two Rotties, and what I've just witnessed just completely dumbfounds me. It dumbfounds me. I cannot believe the stupidity of people. Walking across a great big piece of sort of common land, and in front of me there's a bloke with a black lab that's off the lead. He's a good 250 metres in front of me. Mine are doing their own thing, minding their own business, and this lab's off lead. And it hasn't even sort of noticed that we're behind, but I'm hanging back a little bit anyway. Now ahead of him, about probably 50 metres, from round a corner appears a chap with a dog. I think it was I think it might have even been a schnauzer. Impossible to tell from that distance, but it had that sort of look about it. Not a miniature, standard, a giant schnauzer. And the chap with this other dog, we'll call it a schnauzer for recognition, stops, calls his dog back, puts his dog on a lead. So what do you think the chap with the Labrador doesn't do? Yeah, you've guessed it. He doesn't put his dog on the lead. The Labrador, about 10 seconds later, then runs the whole distance, closing up the gap towards this other dog that's now on a lead, and there is a massive fight. Chaos, carnage, with the owner running up behind, shouting, "Stop!" and all this, that, the other. And he gets hold of his dog. Eventually, I've now just stopped, because I'm not going to, I've stopped and actually put mine on the lead. Not that they're going to go after it. We're a good distance away and, they don't run off. They have a bit of verbal between each other. Quite right, because if I was the other person, I'd be fuming. If that dog did that to my dogs, being what they are calm, balanced, social, well-mannered dogs. But in that scenario, I don't know what would happen. There could be a catastrophic consequence for that Labrador. And who'd be in the wrong? Not me. Not Sonny and Sasha. That he would be. But would it be seen like that? No, probably not. Anyway, they go about their separate ways, and the chap with the schnauzer veers off in one direction. We carry on walking, still a good distance behind. And he goes through a set of kissing gates into this other sort of section, and he disappears out of view. A little while later, I hear this panic bellowing, and come around the corner, and the Labrador is now in a field chasing a horse around. Is this bloke stupid? Okay, if your dog does not have recall, under any circumstance with competing motivators, your dog can't be off the lead. It's dangerous. It's dangerous for your dog. It's dangerous for other animals. And it's certainly going to land you in hot water at some point. Okay, Control of Dogs Act says that your dog at all times must be under control in a public place. Okay, it doesn't mean on a lead. It says under control. Okay, you're breaking the law if your dog is not under control. And a dog that is under verbal commands, reliable verbal commands, under that piece of legislation is deemed to be under control. Okay, now this isn't about remote collars. This is not about positive only versus balanced dog training. This is not about anything like that. My dogs have been remote collar trained because they have an extremely high chase drive, and they've gone after things, and they have phenomenal recall, or what I call sterile recall, where there is no competing motivator. But this isn't a video about remote collars. I will stand by my decision to train my dogs on the remote collar. They no longer chase things. Okay? and I'm not knocking any other type of trainer. It's not about, as I say, it's not about positive only versus balance. This is about the stupidity of people. And I think whatever school of dog training you come from, that we can all agree that that is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it will land you in trouble one day. You have to be in control of your dog at all times, regardless of what is going on around the dog. Okay. That dog probably doesn't have any form of recall. You know, it was a long way away from him when he was walking it before the two incidences occurred. I didn't hear him call or whistle or anything like that. And it's fine for your dogs to go off and have a little explore, but you have to be able to get your dog back. Doesn't matter what the circumstances are, your dog has to come back. Okay, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for your dog, other dogs, other animals. It's not acceptable. Recall train your dog to a good standard, okay? Because what I've just seen, it's crazy. Just absolutely crazy. And one day that Labrador will run up to the wrong dog. And then that Labrador might be going to the vet and might not be leaving the vet. Lunacy. If your dog hasn't got a reliable recall, it's going to have to stay on the lead. Now, unfortunately, this is something that I see all the time. Pretty much every other dog walk I go on, and dogs come running up to me, and I put mine on the lead. Even if I see other dogs that my dogs know, or I know the people, I still put them on the lead, because that's the rules. They can't go bounding up to other dogs. It's not acceptable. If your dog hasn't got the cognition to compute that it's okay to run up to some dogs and it's not okay to run up to the others. As far as they're concerned, they're allowed to do it. It causes you massive problems. Your dogs just shouldn't be doing that anyway. You know, this is a massive problem, and I think it's got worse over the last couple of years or so, and I think that's probably a lot down to the pandemic and people getting dogs and not, you know, realising what they're buying and the obligation on them to train that dog and be able to control that dog, irrespective of what breed it is. You know, this is a Labrador. The rock solid, never get you in any bother Labrador. You know, why has this dog not been trained? Labradors are one of the, in my opinion, in my experience, Labradors, if someone says to me, I've got a Labrador that needs some training, I'm like this. Lovely job. Easy. On the easiest dogs to train. You've got a pocket full of food, that dog will do anything. It'll do anything for you. And you positively reinforce over and 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 over again the recall. I took my two to the same place yesterday and probably came across 30 other dog walkers. It was rammed. It was a Sunday afternoon. And I would, I'd put a good estimate on more than half of those dogs weren't under proper control. A couple came, quite close to us. It's just not acceptable and it's not fair. It's not fair on other people what you're doing. You have to teach your dog reliable recall. It's not, if you want your dog to be able to enjoy off-lead freedom, which all dogs should be able to, with a few exceptions, it's not good for your dog's mental health. That PDSA study, it's not good for your dog's mental health or its well-being if it can never experience, off-lead freedom, running around, sniffing the flipping horse shit, and things like that. Your dog needs to be able to do it. It's good for them, but you have to be able to get her back. You have to, otherwise you will find yourself in situations like today, shouting, "It's okay, she's friendly," as your dog bounds up to mine because you've got no control. That's not a disclaimer. That doesn't absolve your responsibility of anything that happens from that point. Because what I've started shouting back is, mine aren't. And I've got 2 Rottweilers in my hands. Now, they're good dogs. But it's not the point. 2 friendly dogs can have a fight. 2 dogs that know each other can have a fight. Dogs that live with each other in their own pack order have fights. Okay, shouting my dog's friendly. So the 2 things you hear are, my dog's friendly, and then if there's a scuffle, you get, well, that's never happened before. Well, even if it hasn't, which I find quite hard to believe, it's happened now. And if that other person's dogs are on the lead, it's not their fault, it's your fault. It's your fault, and you are irresponsible, and you are displaying a level of stupidity that I find really difficult to comprehend. I could sit and rant and swear and get really annoyed about this all day, but I've got dogs to train now. So, breathe, enjoy your day, just be responsible, please. There are people out there that hate dog walkers, dog owners as it is, you know, and think that they, you know, people that leave their dog's mess on the floor, and then things like this, you know, that happen. That could have happened to a family that didn't have a dog with them. Could have a kid who's petrified of dogs, you know. And it's just these things that happen that give people more ammunition. But don't give them that ammunition. Be responsible, be a good dog owner, and do the right thing by your dog.